All right. So right now the broadcast is starting. Hopefully this is all working out correctly. Cool. Okay, I think it is. So right now. Ooh, that was so weird. Okay, so hello everyone who's here. Actually, let's give everyone some time first to like get settled in. And hopefully we get more
Everyone
people.
who's here. Actually,
Eh, oh my God, I hate hearing my own voice.
I think it's not just you. I think it's everyone out there. Like they like hearing other people's voices, but not their own.
That's true. All right. So hopefully we get more people watching. Yeah. I feel kind of bad because the first link didn't work out. It was only like, I'm guessing like a minute's worth of content. So let's just wait until we get a couple more viewers and then we can start the actual webinar. And then, because then I posted in all of the divisions in their pages for the new link. So hopefully people saw it. Ooh, okay, yeah, we're getting more viewers. This is good.
This is great.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. 6 people. Hopefully we can get more soon so we can get like started on everything. How about we wait until like 10 people so that way we have like a good crowd to talk to.
A little village.
Yeah, and so I mean registration is pretty easy in my opinion. Even though I've never registered a club before, I honestly think it's pretty easy. And hopefully everyone else will think it's easy after. Oh, we have 7 people watching.
Yay!
Like,
I kind of wish we could see their faces.
Honestly, same. But I feel like if we saw all their faces, the entire website would crash. Like that's so many people.
I remember trying to get onto a dues webinar because I had to since our president and treasurer weren't gonna go. And like I remember they're just like, okay, like we're at max capacity and half of you have to get out.
All right. Oh, we are. Oh, I thought I saw 11. It went back to 8. Why are we losing viewers?
Why are you leaving?
So we're just going to start. So before we actually start the actual like registration webinar, I just want to introduce myself. Hello everyone. I'm Larry Lamb. We're current assistant care and also the main head of DCON committee. I'll be helping you guys register, or hopefully I'll be helping you guys for all the for DCON. And so moving on, we have Jocelyn.
Hey guys, my name is Jocelyn. I'm Diamond Division's Lieutenant Governor, and I am a co-host of the Registration and Hospitality Committee for DCON.
Yeah. And then we also have Mr. John Carlos, who is the main advisor for not only the Registration Host and Hospitality Committee, but for all of the DCON subcommittees. He's basically the adult version of me. And so throughout this entire webinar, if you guys have any questions, be sure to type them up in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. But with that being said, we are going to start the actual DCON webinar. So basically how registration works is before you actually start to register your club for DCON 2018, what you need to do is you need to finalize the total number of dues paid members in your club. And so you guys could have a meeting sometime this week or sometime next week, like an interest meeting for DCON to get members interested, and then just basically gather how many members you know will want to go to DCON and you know will pay to go to DCON. And they all have to be dues paid members to attend district convention. So just keep that in mind. And then next is to start to collect the money and to notify your members the actual price of DCON. And so I've been getting a lot of questions about this in particular. And so the total price of DCON for registration and hotel rooming is $264.70. But the cool thing about DCON registration itself is that you don't really have to pay that full price by February 23rd or by March 2nd. The two dates, so February 23rd and March 2nd, those two dates are basically just when you need to have the registration money turned into the district office. And so right now, what you can tell all the members in your club is that they have to turn in $190 for early registration or $230 for late registration. And so later on, after you make the payment for registration, so let's say you already paid by February 23rd, then you could ask your members to make the second payment for the hotel rooming. And so now I'll be moving on to actually collecting the registration money and the forms for DCON registration. So again, you want to collect the money for from all of your members for DCON registration as early as possible, especially from if you're from the northern divisions. You want to do this as quickly as possible so you can turn in your check and all of the forms on time. Because how the dates work is you can't just register your club and send your check on the day of February 23rd to qualify for early registration. The check and all of your forms for your club has to be in the actual district office by that date. And so you have to send it at least a week before to make sure that the check and all of the information gets to the district office by February 23rd. And that's to qualify for early registration. And so if your check doesn't make it into the district office by February 23rd, then it automatically turns into late registration. So that means you'll have to have all of your members pay the additional price, so $40 per member for the late fee. And so please, please, please be sure to get all the money on time so you can send the check and have it be in the district office by the 23rd. And so with that being said, it isn't, well, this is different for every club, but not all clubs are allowed to actually handle the money, because this is a lot of money, $190 per person. Let's say you have 30 people in your club who want to go to DCON. That's $190 times 30 people. And so a lot of schools won't allow Kiwinners members to handle that much money just for safety reasons. And so you might have to contact your school's ASB or your Kiwanis club or your Kiwanis advisor so they can handle the money and then write the check themselves. And so you have to keep that into account. So it is really, really important to make sure that you collect all the money early enough so you can send it either to your ASB or to your Kiwanis clubs. And also, when you collect money, you will also need to collect one code of conduct form and 2 medical forms from every single member in your club who wants to go to DCON. And so, again, that's 1 code of conduct and 2 medical forms. And also, for every single club that's going to DCON, you need to have 2 delegates and 3 SAAs. And so you will need to fill out a form, 1 form for delegates and another form for SAAs. You don't need to fill out multiple delegate forms and multiple SAA forms. You can fill them all out on 1 form. So each club just needs 1 delegate form and 1 SAA form. And so now we will have Jocelyn moving on to chaperone information.
Okay, so a little bit about chaperones. What's DCON without chaperones? So they must be 21 years or older, and they have to go through a background check every 2 years. And if you have your faculty advisors coming to be your chaperone, they don't need a background check because they kind of already get one because they're teaching at a school. There's also a list of updated background check chaperones. or how to be background checked on kiwinners.org. So if you have any like questions, you can ask us, or there's information on kiwinners.org. You would simply just go to the website, click on events, DCON, and scroll down to the bottom of the page. And they have to be gender specific. So if you have like, it's going to follow like a 1-to-10 ratio. So let's say you have like 30 girls going, you have to make sure that you have 3 female chaperones as well. Same thing as boys. If you have 20 boys going, you have to have at least 2 male chaperones accompany you. Let's see. You can share chaperones with other clubs if you need to. Just make sure you keep your lieutenant governor updated, and they can't share room with students. So usually they'll have like their own room, or if they choose to, they can share with other chaperones. It usually depends on them. They have to be registered and stay at the hotel, so your club or their Kiwanis club should pay for the registration and the hotel room cost. Other than that, just make sure you have enough chaperones for all your members that are going to DCON, and make sure you follow the 1-to-10 ratio. And like, we can't stress enough how important this is, that you have all the chaperones with you.
Yes, because we need to make sure that every single club has the adequate amount of chaperones to take care of all the members, because we don't want the members to be getting hurt anytime at DCON, before or after. And so now I'm actually going to go through the entire registration process. And so this is probably the most important part of this webinar. And so how it works is basically, if you didn't attend CTC, there is actually a DCON registration presentation that I had presented at CTC. So you can access that. You can contact Holly Huye, the district secretary, for all the materials that we had at CTC, and you can access that presentation. But basically, before you actually register, you need to collect all of this information, which is very necessary from every single one of your members who is going to attend DCON. And so you'll need the name, the email, the position of the member, if they actually have a position, and any dietary needs. So like if they're a vegetarian, if they can't eat certain foods, if they're allergic to anything. And lastly, you will need their t-shirt size. And so if you miss any of these things, it does put your members in jeopardy of like not getting certain items at DCON where they should be getting it. So for example, if you don't provide the t-shirt sizes for all of your members, the default size is large. So that means that every single person in your club will be getting a large DCON t-shirt if you don't include the t-shirt size of all the members. And then next, you need to fill out the actual registration spreadsheet. And so you can find this again on the Kiwinners website. Just go to kiwinners.org, click the events tab, and then go to DCON. Scroll all the way down until you see the link that says basically DCON 2018 registration form. So when you click on that, it's going to be a Microsoft Excel form, and you can read the instructions on the actual Excel form itself. And just be sure to include chaperones in that list. And so if you want to, you can click on the form right now and just see what it looks like. And for every single form, you can register up to 75 members, including yourself, your club board, all of your chaperones, and anyone else who is interested. And so when you look at it, you can scroll. Be sure to scroll to the right for the Excel form, so you can see all of the options that isn't visible when you actually like first see the Excel form. And one thing that I cannot stress enough is when you're actually editing this form, please, please, please only use Microsoft Excel, because that is the most accurate program to be filling out these forms. So just make a copy through Microsoft Excel and then fill it out for every single member. And so some of the boxes, they will have a little arrow on the side, on the right-hand side. So if it does have the arrow, please be sure to click the arrow and click the options. You don't have to put in the specific answers. So a good example would be for if they have a position on board. So you don't have to put in the specific position for every single one of your board members. There's already the options given to you. You just click on the little arrow and it gives you a drop-down bar, and you click on whatever option fits the person best. And that goes the same thing for any food allergies, if they're a vegetarian, for t-shirt sizes, and for their gender. So you don't have to put in, or you don't have to enter in your own information if there's a little drop-down menu. And so after you get all of that done, so you get all of your information from the members and you fill it out on that spreadsheet on Microsoft Excel, what you need to do is you save the file as 2018 Kiwinners DCON underscore, and then you put your school's name. So I'll just be using my own school's name as an example. So that would be, or when I finish filling out the Excel form, that would be 2018 Kiwinners DCON underscore La Quinta High School. And so after you save that form, what you'll need to do is you need to go on the actual registration website. And so you can find that at bit.ly /Kiwinners or if you can't find that, then you can always, again, go on the Kiwinners website and you go to the DCON tab and it will be there. The link is there and there's also a button. So once you click on the website, it'll open up to this website called FormStack, and it'll have Michaela Bassan, your district governor, her welcome for the DCON registration. It'll have a lot of instructions on how to specifically fill out this DCON registration form to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So please read the instructions. Do not skimp over them. They are very, very important. They are really helpful. And so afterwards, just scroll through the pages, make sure you read everything, and you go to the very last page where it allows you to actually fill out the information. And so what you do is whoever is going on this website, just make sure that the person who's filling this out for your club is 100% for sure going to DCON, and they are a credible person. So usually the person who would be filling this out would be a club treasurer or a president or someone within the exec board. And so you fill out your own name, your email, and your phone number, and all of that stuff. And then you scroll down, and in step 2, it's going to say register your club members, and they have an option for early registration and regular registration. And so what you do is you go to the right-hand side where it says quantity, and you basically enter in the number of members up to 75 of how many are paying the early registration fee and how many are paying the regular or late registration fee. And so again, just a reminder that please, if you're filling this out, make sure it's before February 23rd so you can actually qualify for the early registration price. And so after that, if you scroll down, there's going to be a little total at the bottom, and it will calculate how much money you owe based on how many members are paying regular registration fee or early registration fee. So make sure you have that exact amount of money. And so after you fill that out, then you click submit form. And once you submit your form, you basically will get a confirmation email. And so what you do with the email is you can either save that confirmation form, or you can just take a screenshot and just keep it on your computer because it's going to be really important a little later. So, oh, and just a reminder, when you're actually using the FormStack form, the registration website is you only have 30 minutes to fill this out, and after 30 minutes, you will be logged out of the website. So please make sure that you're not taking too long to read over all the rules. If you've filled out your Excel sheet beforehand, this should go by extremely fast, and it takes no more than 5 minutes to fill this out. And so afterwards, what you want to do is, again, you just take a screenshot or you save your DCON confirmation page when you finish your submission. And so now we will be moving on to Jocelyn to explain actually sending your check to the district office. Jocelyn.
Okay, so when you're sending your check, really checks are the only method of payment for DCON registration. It just makes things like really easy, and it doesn't like complicate a lot of things. So when you write your check out, make sure you make it out to Calneva Kiwinners, and you're gonna send it to, I don't know if you guys have any like pen or paper or anything, but you're sending it to 21850 Oxnard Street, Woodland Hills, CA 91950. I think that's a 367. And basically, when you send your check, you're gonna have some papers with it, and it's all gonna be in one like manila folder or envelope, whatever your club decides to send it in. But it's gonna have your completed delegate form, your SAA form, and your DCON confirmation page. So as Larry mentioned, when you screenshot that page, make sure you print it out so you can actually send it with your check. One thing that's like really big, you do not include your medical forms or your code of conduct with this mail. That you will actually take it to DCON. So please do not include your medical forms or code of conduct forms. And the checks have to be received to the district office by February 23rd. So as Larry has mentioned, you won't qualify for the early registration unless it's at the district office by February 23rd. So if it's like there by February 24th, then unfortunately you will have to pay the late registration. So try to send it a week in advance so you don't have that worry.
All right. So moving on, I'll be talking about canceling members. So if a member that you already registered actually does not want to attend DCON, they want to cancel their payment, this is how the process should go. And so basically how it works is when you want to cancel one of the registration orders for a member, there is going to be a $10 processing fee per cancellation. So if you have 3 members who paid the registration fee, but they don't want to go to DCON anymore, that's $10 per member. And so how it works is you have to email Mr. Hennings, our SLP director, at bruce@cnhkiwanis.org. And if you need any of this information, just hit me up, let me know, and I'll provide any of the emails or information that you need to know. And so you'll need to email Mr. Hennings that you want to cancel a member's registration price or fee for DCON, and you have to do this by March 2nd, which is the last day for registration for DCON. And so if you don't do it by March 2nd, 2018, then your member won't be able to get the partial refund. So like the $190 minus 10. So your members who want to cancel their DCON registration will not be able to get their $180 back. So, another option you have instead of canceling your members registration is that you can actually replace them. And so if you registered your members for DCON and they want to cancel, but you have another member who actually wants to attend district convention, but you can register that certain member on time, you can actually basically replace them or you can switch them. So you'll have to email at booth@cnhkiwanis.org if you want to do any changes or if you want to replace your members. And you can still replace your members until DCON. However, if you decide to replace your members after March special date, and whoever you're replacing will have the name of the previous member. So if I'm replacing Jocelyn with a new member, let's say I'm replacing Jocelyn with Mr. Carlos, then if he attends DCON, he will have to wear Jocelyn's name tag, and he will have to wear her t-shirt tag. So that's all if you do it after March 7th. So, and just another note, earlier for the registration check, I actually put in the wrong address. So it's actually the district office. So that's going to be 8360 number 01 in Rancho Cucamonga. And again, if you have any questions about who to send the check to, who to make it out to, be sure to give me a message. Just message me on Facebook, give me an email at my Kiwinners email, or anyone else on the Host Hospitality Committee for registration. So now I'll be having Jocelyn talking about the specifics of replacing members for registration.
Okay, so personally, in my opinion, I think replacing members is better than canceling members. So when you replace members, it has to be like before March 2nd, if they want to have like their own name tag. So you'll email a list of the members that are replaced and the new members replacing them to Mr. Hennings, which his email is bruce@cnhkiwanis.org. And you'll also include the new information of the new members. So like their position, their diet, their dietary needs, their shirt size, their email, their gender. And just a little note on the side, when you replace members, it has to be of the same gender. So if you have like a girl not wanting to go, the replacement must be a female. It cannot be the opposite gender. So that's just a little reminder out there. If it's a last minute exchange, so after March 2nd, it can only be made within the club. So you can't like go outside of the club. Oh, my mistake. If it's before March 2nd, it can be either gender to replace them, but after March 2nd, it has to be the same gender. So after March 2nd, if a girl can't go, then a girl has to replace the first one. So it has to be the same gender after March 2nd. Before March 2nd, it could be any gender. Let's see. It just makes it easier that way, only because of the hotel rooming. So yeah.
Yes. And so now we will be moving on to just collecting the money for hotel rooming. And so again, like paying for registration for DCON is separate from actually paying for rooming at the hotel, the Warner Center Marriott. And so the paying for hotel rooming is a lot different is because basically the day in which you have to turn in the money is after all the DCON registration stuff. And so the last day you have to turn in your registration money for DCON is March 2nd. But the cool thing about hotel rooming and the check that you have to send into them is that you have all the way until 10 days before DCON. And so around March 24th is when you should be sending your hotel rooming money. So that's what I meant earlier by splitting up the price of DCON. So instead of paying the big chunk of $264.70, you can do 191st and then get that over with when registration is over. And then after that, then you can fundraise. You can do whatever you need to do to basically minimize the cost of paying for hotel rooms because that is due later. And so one room for both nights at DCON is $298.80 in total. And so if you split that amongst 4 people, that comes out to $74.70 each person, which is the price that is originally included with the registration. Because we do highly encourage to have 4 members or 4 members of the same gender in all of DCON rooms to make sure that nobody's paying more than they have to for DCON. And with that being said, if you do decide to have less members in a room, then if you're doing 3 people in a room, that's going to be $99.60 per person. And if you do decide to do 2 people in a room, which is this is probably more common amongst advisors, is having 2 people in a room. The price for each person will be $149.40. And again, when you're collecting all of this money, just make sure that your school is okay with you handling all this money. And if they aren't, then be sure to give all the money to your school's ASB or again your Kiwanis club so they can write the check for you and then they can send it to the hotel. And so now we have Jocelyn talking about the hotel registration process.
Yes.
Okay, so for the rooming and everything, you're gonna fill it out. It will the registration for DCON. This will be specifically for the hotel rooming. Is also on the Kiwinners.org website, I believe. So you would once again go to Kiwinners.org, go to events, click on DCON, and when you scroll down, there should be a hotel housing link. And when you use it, make sure to use Microsoft Excel. It just makes things a whole lot easier. So you're gonna have to like work with other clubs in your division to make sure each of your rooms is filled up to 4 people. That way, each of you will have to spend the least amount of money that you possibly can when you're rooming. So each member would pay $74.70 each. Once you're done with the housing sheet, make sure your chaperones are also included in that sheet. Once you're done with all that, you're gonna send it to La Costa Sharer. If anything, we'll just like make sure to post where you send it. Basically, it's gonna be to someone at the Warner Center Marriott, and you have to send it by March 24th, which is at least 10 days before DCON. So that's really important. Just make sure you have as many people, 4 being the max, in your hotel rooms, so you don't have to spend that much money. Make sure your chaperones are included in that list, and make sure to send it by March 24th. And then you'll print out a copy of the housing sheet to send it with your check.
Yes, and so now I'll be going over actually sending the hotel check or the payment. And so the interesting thing about actually sending the hotel payment for all of your rooms is that you can pay by check or you can pay by credit card. But we do highly suggest that you pay with check just to make the entire process a lot easier. And so if you do decide to pay by check, you will be making it out to the Warner Center Marriott in Woodland Hills. And then for the actual location, you'll be putting the address of the hotel. And so that's 21850 Oxnard Street, Woodland Hills, and then California 91367. And again, as Jocelyn said earlier, all of this information will be made available to all of the clubs and the entirety of Kiwinners. So if you have any questions, you can just look back on the information that we send you guys later after this webinar. And so when you're sending your check, when you send it for your club, you need to send the actual check with all of the money from your members who are rooming at DCON. And then along with that check, you will need to send a copy of your housing sheet. And so you basically either save the Excel sheet that you filled out for all of your rooming or all of your members and where they're rooming. So you can like take a screenshot, you can save it as a file, but just make sure that you print it and you send a copy of that with your check to the hotel. And again, you have to send this to the hotel at least 10 days before DCON, so they have an adequate amount of time to like actually make sure all the rooms are free for your members. And so if you decide that you want to pay by credit card, then we do have a credit card authorization form specifically for this hotel on our Kiwinners website and also on the registration website. Again, you just go to the DCON tab, you scroll down until the very last link, which says credit card authorization. And then you fill that out and you send it again to the hotel contact person by around March 24th. And so if you do decide to pay by credit card, you just need to send in that authorization form, and then you can actually pay once you get to DCON.
Just a little side note, KK had mentioned that she's paid with credit card before, and she had said that like it's just a longer and like harder process. So check does make everything easier, but you can do a credit card.
Are you good, Jocelyn?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so I'm just gonna continue on. So that's basically the whole gist of how to basically register your club for DCON with the district office, and then how to actually register and send all of your money for the hotel. And so this is just like a recap of what you basically like. The most important things of this webinar are that you need to send 2 separate checks in order to register all of your club members to go to DCON, because you need 1 check to send to the district office with all of the registration money. So along with that check that you're sending, you need the check, you need the delegate form with 2 delegates from each club, and then you need the SAA form with all of the SAAs from your club. Please try to have 3. And then the last thing you need to have for what you're sending to the district office is that confirmation email or the page that it sends you after you register online. So that's 4 separate items that you will need to be sending to the district office for registration. And so that's just 1 separate check and all that information. And then the other check will be the actual hotel rooming one. And all you need for that check is, the actual physical check, and you'll need a screenshot or the file of all of your members and where they're rooming. And so it's 4-2. So 4 to the district office, 2 to the hotel. And that's basically what you need to send to those 2 different locations. And quick reminder that for your DCON registration check, the one that has to be in the district office, remember that it has to be received at the office by February 23rd. You cannot send your check on that day. You have to send it a lot earlier to make sure that it gets to the office by February 23rd in order to qualify for early registration. I really, really don't want any club making the mistake of not sending it on time and then being forced to pay the late fee. And same thing goes for the hotel rooming check, is that you have to send it to the Marriott hotel. So the Marriott hotel that we're going to this year has to have your rooming check and your sheet of who's rooming where and where your members are going to room. That has to be received by the hotel by March 24th in order for them to process your request. And so you could have your members rooming at DCON. So it's just those short reminders to make sure that you don't forget those things. And I don't think we have any questions, but before we end this webinar, everything that we talked about in this actual webinar, there is going to be a forum, and we will be posting it for all the divisions to see and all the club board members to see. So again, all the information that you will need will be on this form, and so you have nothing to worry about. And again, if you have any other questions that we couldn't answer here on the webinar, please feel free to message me, Jocelyn, or KK, or matter of fact, you can message anybody on district board, and they probably will be able to direct you to me, and I can help you with anything along the registration process. And so, and also, please try to do all of this early this year. I know that the deadlines are a lot earlier this year, and that's because district convention is earlier this year, which it's in April. It's April 6th through April 8th, which is why registration is pushed up so early this year. And so I can't stress enough how much you need to start moving with all of this registration and collecting money from your members. You don't want to tell your members last minute and not have as many members pay to go to DCON. So now is a great time to start to get your members interested for DCON. Start showing them videos of last year's district convention, how it went, explain what DCON is to your members. You can show if you have any supplies from last year or any previous years of DCON, like the DCON manual, lanyards, your name tag, whatnot. They're interested, and then just start collecting your money early. If you fundraise, then that's a lot better because you won't have to pay as much for all of your members. But other than that, I really do wish that all of your club's registration goes smoothly and there's no problems whatsoever. And yes, Jocelyn or Mr. Carlos, do you guys have anything else you guys would like to add?
What's your request?
You guys did a great job on the webinar. I just want to stress again, we can't stress it often enough. Send your forms and your payments in early. Start practicing your cheers, but don't lose your voice until after you get to DCON. And if you really want to impress your chaperones, get a set of earplugs for them.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna fight.
Nice.
Earplugs or earmuffs?
Wait, what?
I don't really have anything to say except if you do have any questions, you can contact me, Larry, or KK, and I'm pretty sure we can all answer your questions. So don't be afraid to ask us, because it's really important registration process, right? Because if you don't, then it's going to cause a lot of problems. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
And I personally don't have anything else to add. So with this, we are going to end the webinar. Actually, there is a question. I just have right now. The question is, if some members give us the money or their money after early registration, will we send 2 separate packages into the district? Okay, so that's a really good question. So if the members send their money to you and they originally wanted to pay as like an early registration member, if you know that they are going to pay, but they just can't pay you in time, you can always just add them to the roster for the DCON registration. So the little Excel sheet, just add their name and like their email and all their preferences, and then have them, or you can like try to have someone cover their payment, and then they can pay you back afterwards. But specifically for the payment, this is only if you didn't send in your check yet. Because if you already sent in your check, then if the member sends you the money after that, then you would have to send a separate one. As long as it's before the February 23rd deadline, then the member would still qualify for early registration. So let's say, I'll give you an example because I'm not sure if what I said earlier kind of made sense. So basically how it works is, let's say you have 30 members that you already registered for DCON for early registration. So they all paid $190 each. And then you register, you fill out the website, you already send in your Excel sheet, and then you have like 2 or 3 members who were interested, but they didn't get a pay on time. And this is all before February 23rd. So what you would do is you just fill out a completely new Excel sheet. So
both of you guys are gonna get the bro
for those 2 to 3 members who wanted to attend DCON but didn't pay on time. And then, you enter in their information and fill out the registration website one more time, but only for those 2 or 3 members. And so it doesn't matter how many members you fill out for. Just make sure that you send the checks on time, you fill out the registration site for whoever or however many extra members you have, and just make sure that it's all before the early registration deadline, and you should be good. If it is after the deadline, unfortunately, any members who were going to pay for DCON but it's after the deadline, then you would have to pay the $230 instead of the $190. And so hopefully that answers your question. Other than that, I think we are good. All right. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this webinar and you guys found it interesting, informational, and you learned something how to register correctly for DCON. And I wish you guys all the best of luck with that. Hopefully I can see you guys all or any other district event before DCON, if not DCON.
A Wickathon.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.